Understanding motivation is essential for leaders to drive high performance, improve employee retention, and build resilient, engaged teams. By distinguishing between intrinsic passion and extrinsic rewards, leaders can create tailored environments that boost productivity, foster innovation, and align personal goals with organizational success, ultimately leading to higher employee satisfaction. Understanding motivation is crucial for leaders because it directly drives employee engagement, productivity, and retention. By recognizing individual needs, leaders can foster intrinsic motivation, boost performance, navigate organizational change effectively, and create a resilient, loyal team. Here are some key reasons why understanding motivation is crucial for leaders. Increased productivity and engagement. Motivated employees are more focused, engaged, and productive, leading to better overall performance and higher quality output. Enhance retention and recruitment. Understanding what drives employees, particularly intrinsic factors like purpose and belonging, is key to retention, especially among Gen Z and millennial workers who value alignment with organizational missions. Driving change and innovation. Motivated teams are better equipped to handle change, display greater initiative, and contribute to innovative behaviors, allowing leaders to navigate uncertain conditions. Building stronger relationships. A leader who understands what makes their team tick can build trust and psychological safety, which is foundational to team cohesion. Tailored leadership using both intrinsic and extrinsic factors. Leaders must look beyond transactional rewards such as money and recognition, and identify intrinsic motivators like passion and growth to unlock the deepest commitment from their employees. And improved leader well-being. Understanding pro-social power motivation, or using influence for the collective good rather than just personal gain, reduces a leader's own anxiety and improves their own well-being. Self-motivated individuals possess an internal drive to initiate, pursue, and complete tasks or achieve goals without needing external prompting or supervision. It involves passion, dedication, and the ability to persevere through obstacles, making it a critical skill for leadership, productivity, and personal growth. Key traits of self-motivated people include initiative, taking action without being told; goal-oriented, setting clear personal or professional goals; resilience, persistence in the face of challenges; and discipline, maintaining focus and effort, even when uninterested or when no one is watching. Motivation theory explains the drivers behind human behavior, focusing on what compels action, sustains effort, and influences goal attainment, ranging from internal desires to external rewards. Key approaches include Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Herzberg's two-factor theory, and Vroom's expectancy theory, which help leaders boost employee performance and satisfaction. Motivation is generally divided into two main types. The first is intrinsic motivation. This is driven by internal factors such as personal satisfaction, enjoyment of the task, or a desire to grow. And the second is extrinsic motivation. It is driven by external factors like salary, bonuses, promotions, or praise. These are often broken down into content theories, what motivates, and process theories, how motivation occurs. Now we will introduce motivational theories. The first is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Abraham Maslow is one of the most quoted theorists in modern business management. That is because he came up with an easy-to-understand theory of motivation which has high applicability in the business sector. Leaders use it to understand themselves and to understand those above them, below them, and on their peer level. Maslow believed that needs emerge in a specific order. In the work environment, a leader can learn to recognize the level at which each of their employees are operating. Once they know this, a leader can target their influence towards motivating the person by helping him or her satisfy that need level. Why is this important? This is essential to understand for several reasons. They include: a person who has not sufficiently satisfied a given need level will tend to fixate at that need level until it is taken care of. Higher needs emerge only after lower needs have been sufficiently satisfied. Optimum work performance occurs when employees attain the top need level. And a leader can actually cause someone to progress or regress. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a psychological theory proposing that human motivation is driven by a five-tier pyramid of needs, ranging from basic survival to self-actualization. Individuals must generally satisfy lower-level deficiency needs before addressing higher-level growth need. Physiological needs are needs basic to every living thing. They include food, water, air, sleep, and basic body needs. To the extent that these basic needs are not satisfied, no other needs will serve as a basis for motivation. Once these basic needs are reasonably satisfied, however, the next set of needs emerges. Think about when you are hungry, how focused are you on other things? Likewise, when you have to use the bathroom or work too many hours, where is your focus? On the job? Likely not. That is how employees feel when their lunch break is pushed back or when they work too many hours. The reason this is the lowest level need is because if physical needs are not met, nothing else will matter until it is satisfied. Safety needs include protection from harm, economic disaster, the need to be sheltered from the environment, and the general need to avoid the unexpected. The need to be treated fairly is also included in this category. Although the physical needs are largely satisfied outside of the work center, security needs tend to emerge in our work environment. If an employee's job security is threatened, how much focus will be put into the job? It is likely they be focused on other job opportunities. A leader can affect their employees' perspective by creating a stable, comfortable work environment. Or they can threaten them and attempt to rule by fear. But employees stuck in this level will not progress or improve, and they probably will not stick around either. By threatening them, a leader is encouraging them to look for other opportunities. Humans have an innate need to belong. This makes teamwork important in the workplace. Employees have social needs. They want to be welcomed and accepted by the group. Interestingly, this need does not only have to be satisfied at work. This is especially true for younger generations, who chase likes and approval through social media. If social needs are not found in the workplace, they will be sought out elsewhere. This may be in other social settings or in another organization. Remember, there is no need for leaders without their employees, so welcoming employees and making sure they understand that they are an important part of the team is a necessary component of a leader's abilities. Once the previous levels have been met, then a leader can move on to fulfill the self-esteem needs. This level of needs reflects the necessity for human beings to realize that others respect them and also that they respect themselves. It is two-sided. The need is not satisfied, however, if the feedback from others is not considered warranted or sincere. Satisfaction of these needs lead to self-satisfaction and prestige. Positive feedback is one way to help fulfill this need. On the contrary, focusing on the negative will have an adverse impact and prevent your employees from satisfying this level of need. A good leader will use negative events or results in a positive way by turning it into a learning opportunity. The final level to achieve is self-actualization. This is the need to become all that you can be. In other words, it is the drive to become effective and efficient in one's role or profession. Maslow felt that satisfaction of this need is possible only after the satisfaction of all other needs. Work with this need by encouraging employees to become more and more proficient by giving them opportunities to grow. Conversely, work against this need by failing to delegate and thereby dictating everything. A leader may also refuse to allow employees to participate in the decision-making process. The more responsibility given to employees, the greater chance they will achieve this level. As a leader, it's incredibly important to provide your team with a working environment that is both stimulating and comfortable. Following Maslow's hierarchy of needs helps foster this atmosphere, but there are additional benefits to cultivating this environment, including workplace culture. Managing workplace culture is crucial to driving and maintaining a happy and sustainable business. Aiming at targets attached to the love and belonging elements of the theory will help foster this positive culture. Improved employee engagement. Enhancing the esteem of your workers by praising good performance fosters greater employee engagement. Enhanced productivity. Linked to engagement, research from Gallup indicates that businesses with engaged employees experience an 18% improvement in productivity compared to those with lower engagement levels. Reduction in absenteeism. Likewise, the same research found that businesses with more engaged and happier staff saw improvements in absenteeism of around 81%, proving that better, more connected, and holistic work environments foster healthier employees. And easier recruitment and retention. When you use Maslow's approach to create a better working culture, you find recruiting and keeping talent in the brand easier. People want to be part of successful and improving companies. Now we will introduce motivational theories. The first is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Douglas McGregor was an influential American psychologist and management theorist. He believed that there is an undeniable link between what you think of workers in general and your interaction with them. A leader's interaction affects both their own motivation as well as their employees. Douglas McGregor said that the assumptions a leader makes about human behavior can be categorized as primarily negative or positive. Both sets of assumptions may be based on valid experiences, and that leadership will be influenced by these basic assumptions. McGregor's theory defines employees in two categories that he called X and Y. McGregor's theory X assumptions about workers include: they do not really like work. They will avoid it to the extent possible. Most people must be forced to work. They work best when threatened. The average person prefers to be directed. Most people avoid responsibility. Most have little creativity and little ambition. And above all, workers want security from their jobs. The theory Y assumptions about workers are: most workers feel that work is a natural part of life. They are capable of self-motivation. They actively seek responsibility. External control and the threat of punishment are probably not necessary if the worker is committed to work objectives. Creativity is rampant in the worker population and can be tapped by a quality leader. And the intellectual potential of most workers is just barely tapped by modern work units. Many people misunderstand McGregor's theory. Some leaders think the theory is about other people, specifically, their employees. Thus, some leaders say, I have a work center full of theory X people. The real significance of this theory is that it is not about other people. It is about the leader. It is about how a leader views other people. Thus, an organization does not have theory X employees, rather, theory X thinking leaders. And since a leader is a significant person to their employees, how they look at them influences who they are or become. The greatest significance of this theory is that theory Y thinking tends to set a leader up to motivate their employees better than theory X thinking does. It puts the leader in a positive frame of mind. If they develop this positive mindset, their employees will perceive it in the leader and their actions. Now we will introduce motivational theories. The first is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Frederick Herzberg was a clinical psychologist and is one of the major writers in motivational theories. His Motivator hygiene theory worked to understand and explain what a leader can do to address the roller coaster that is employee motivation. Herzberg suggests that, while hygiene factors like salary prevent dissatisfaction, true motivation comes from motivator factors like achievement, recognition, and responsibility. Some leaders are great motivators. They work hard to produce can-do attitudes in their team members. Just when they think their jobs are done, however, something goes wrong. What used to motivate their team members in the past does not work anymore. What went wrong? Frederick Herzberg Motivator hygiene theory that worked to understand and explain what a leader can do to address these types of issues. In his Motivator hygiene theory, Herzberg said, some job aspects, when present, motivate people, while other aspects of the job, when present, do not motivate people, but these same aspects, when taken away, demotivate people. For example, a department provides bonuses based on productivity. Typically, the bonus is $400 quarterly. At the end of this quarter, the organization does not provide the bonus because of an issue in another department. The employees were not motivated by the $400. It was not a life-changing amount of money for them. But what do you think will happen when it is taken away? It will likely have a negative impact. So why does the $400 not motivate, but taking it away demotivate them? Herzberg broke down the components into motivators and hygiene factors. There are job aspects that tend to motivate people or Herzberg's motivating factors. Motivating factors means that they are the causal factors of why people do things. They include achievement, recognition, the job itself, advancement, growth opportunity, and responsibility. Hygiene factors are job aspects that do not normally motivate people, though to the extent that they are taken away, workers become demotivated. They include company policies, fair play, technical leadership, job security, safe work conditions, status, and interpersonal relations with peers and leaders. Herzberg's theory has great significance to leaders everywhere. It challenges them to recognize what motivates others and to focus our efforts on those aspects of job satisfaction. On the other hand, it cautions us not to expect our employees to become highly motivated when they get something they consider to be a normal expectation. Some things are just expected. This theory also explains why something motivates today and not tomorrow. Essentially, it says that a motivating factor can become a hygiene factor. This happens when a motivator, such as a letter of recognition, becomes so commonplace that people come to think of it as routine. Next is Vroom's expectancy theory. Victor Vroom is acknowledged as a leading authority on the psychological analysis of behavior in organizations. He was a Canadian psychologist and business school professor at the Yale School of Management. Vroom's theory separates three factors that affect motivation. They are effort, performance, and outcomes. Vroom's expectancy theory assumes that behavior results from conscious choices among alternatives whose purpose it is to maximize pleasure and to minimize pain. Vroom realized that an employee's performance is based on individual factors such as personality, skills, knowledge, experience, and abilities. He stated that effort, performance, and motivation are linked in a person's motivation. He uses the variables expectancy, instrumentality, and valence to account for this. Expectancy is the belief that increased effort will lead to increased performance. If they work harder, then things will get better. A leader must work with their employee to aid in their improvement. If they work against them, or verbally beat them up too much throughout the process, then employees will not achieve the desired performance level. And their performance may actually get worse to the point where voluntary or involuntary separation from the organization may occur. The components of this include the employee having the right resources available to accomplish the job, the employee having the right skills to do the job, the employee having the necessary support to get the job done. Instrumentality is the belief that if an employee performs well, then a valued outcome will be received. The degree to which a first-level outcome will lead to the second-level outcome. There is a valued reward system such as a paycheck or bonus for doing a good job. If the outcome is not provided, then the employee's effort level will diminish. A leader must continuously monitor the situation to ensure the outcomes are sufficient to provide the desired level of motivation. Some factors for instrumentality to work include: the employee has a clear understanding of the relationship between performance and outcomes. The employee has trust in the people who will take the decisions on who gets what outcome. There is transparency of the process that decides who gets what outcome. Valence is the importance that the individual places upon the expected outcome. For the valence to be positive, the person must prefer attaining the outcome to not attaining it. The outcome must be meaningful to the employee, otherwise, why should they put forth the effort to try to achieve it? In order to make this happen, the leader must know what is important to the employee. If a leader offers something that does not have value or is not important to them, then you are wasting your and their time. For example, if someone is mainly motivated by money, he or she might not value offers of additional time off. Victor Vroom's expectancy theory equation is expectancy times instrumentality x valence equals the motivational force. These three elements, expectancy, instrumentality, and valence, are important because of how they are interpreted by employees and what the outcomes they expect to happen will be. There are two equations an employee will either directly or indirectly look at as it relates to their motivation. One is the effort performance expectancy, and the other is the performance outcome expectancy. Now let's take a look at it from an employee's perspective. First, if effort is greater than performance. The expectancy is an evaluation of the probability that an employee's efforts will lead to the required performance level. If they try harder and there is no improvement in their performance level, then they will not put forth the effort, or they will cut it off when they realize that it is not worth it. And second, if performance is greater than outcome. The expectancy is an assessment of the probability that employees' successful performance will lead to certain outcomes. If the employee's performance increases to the desired level, then the outcome of the higher performance must be worth their effort. Otherwise, their performance will slide because it is not worth it to them. Understanding motivation is crucial for leaders because it directly drives employee engagement, productivity, and retention. By recognizing individual needs, leaders can foster intrinsic motivation, boost performance, navigate organizational change effectively, and create a resilient, loyal team. Key reasons for understanding motivation include improved performance and productivity. Highly motivated employees are more focused, engaged, and productive, directly impacting the organization's bottom line. Increased retention and loyalty. Understanding what drives employees helps leaders build a supportive environment, reducing turnover and increasing commitment. Effective change management. In volatile times, motivated teams are more resilient and adaptable to organizational shifts. Enhanced team culture. Understanding motivation allows leaders to offer personalized growth opportunities, fostering a sense of purpose and psychological safety. And improved decision-making. Leaders who know their team's motivators can better allocate tasks and provide recognition that actually resonates, rather than relying on one-size-fits-all incentives. Managers and team leaders have a major impact on employee motivation, a key driver of job satisfaction, productivity, and overall company success. It is important for leaders to understand employee motivation because it directly drives performance, boosts job satisfaction, and reduces staff turnover. As noted in research, leaders influence up to 70% of an employee's engagement, making this knowledge the primary tool for shaping a productive workplace culture. We hope you found this training video valuable. Please give us a like and click the subscribe button to access additional FSTG training videos.